Hi guys, welcome back to In Case of Econ Struggles. Welcome to another exporting results struggle. Today I would sort of like to wrap up our brief discussion of how to send summary statistics tables directly from Stata to LaTeX. And the way I would like to wrap that up is by talking about what I think makes a table the most readable and some suggestions I have for making your tables as readable as possible. By looking at this sample table right here, which we just saw in the previous video where we're doing summary statistics for different groups. Now, one thing I want to talk about is notice that both domestic and foreign, if you're not necessarily familiar with exactly what that means or how I generated that, you probably have questions about how I generated that. And so I want to put a note in my table about how I generated that. I like to use superscripts. So that way when I put the notes below, and I'll talk about notes in a second, that you could just match up the note here with the superscript here. The other thing that I want to note is that notice that my notes are in lines rather than just one big paragraph of text. Whatever floats your boat, but I tend to think that if I want to actually read the notes and you've got a block of text below this table, it's going to be really hard for me to figure out. I'm going to have to read through all of those notes. But really, if I know what domestic and foreign are because I've read the rest of your paper and I'm sort of with you, then I probably don't need to read those footnotes. But if you've got some weird variable that pops up here that I haven't heard before and you've got a note about how you define it, I can really easily jump to the note that talks about that and understand quickly what you mean. If I had multiple sources, I would do the same thing, or I would separate them with semicolons. And now let's dive into Stata and talk about how exactly we can do these fun options. So just like before, I'm going to go ahead and read in this data, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing we did before in terms of estimating these summary statistics for the different groups. The main options are going to come when we do this stab command and we're sending these numbers directly from Stata to LaTeX. Now for this code, I've gone ahead and removed the comments that you're used to seeing, so those comments will also not be in the code that is linked in the video description below. But I think it's going to be a little cleaner if I don't have those comments in because again, we're getting sort of advanced now. So most of the things in here look very familiar. The only thing that's a little different is notice that in this M title, I put this caret in 1, this caret in 2. Now if you're using LaTeX, you know exactly what that means, so that's not really that complicated. But the thing that I want you to get is that since we're sending this directly to LaTeX, you can write LaTeX code in these options in the quotes because Stata is just going to pass that directly to LaTeX. So if you want a superscript on domestic, then you write a superscript on domestic exactly like you would in LaTeX. Now if we go down below, notice that I've added $ for math mode in LaTeX. Again, we're writing LaTeX code in Stata because we can. Stata doesn't care what you put in here, but LaTeX does. So these $ are just going to make sure that the text we put after is going to be not in math mode, it's going to be in regular mode. Maybe I'll take out an equal sign and put in a period. Maybe I'll do the same for foreign is equal to 1. And I'll put a period, and then I'll also put a period after this source. So notice that everything again is exactly ready to go. If we run this and if we open this text file, you can see that Stata has just passed the math mode that we've put in our Stata quotes directly into LaTeX, and we're all ready to go. Just to review, I'll go ahead and pop this updated version into Overleaf. So I'll go into upload. I'll select from my computer. I'll select our stats table. It's going to tell me I'm going to overwrite it because it's an updated version with the same name. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to recompile this. And you're going to see that we have made those changes like I just talked about. So again, I think this is the most readable summary statistics table that you can potentially make. I think there are a lot of advantages to it. The main point, if you don't necessarily agree with my formatting of tables, is that when you're writing the Stata code, you can use LaTeX code in those quotes to sort of make it as you want. And I think that's going to be very helpful as you're making tables going forward. So if this was helpful, make sure to like and subscribe, and we will see you next time for another case of Econ Struggles.